I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain, I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints, money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague, we all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name, all our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be, living in a time where disease is on every screen, I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering, negativity is a plague for the mentally weak, no mercy, all I got is working.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We're back at it again with another market pulse. Today is April 4th, 2024, and folks, Bitcoin's back up to $68,000. And y'all better secure your stash before the next 100x, which is definitely in sight, in potential, and gonna happen within the next 12 months for several individuals. If you were fortunate enough to properly prepare with the 5 P's of proper preparation, preventing poor performance. So I hope all of y'all are having a fantastic day. As always, I do a little test stream a second ago. I'm trying to get some background audio going, and for whatever reason, neither here nor there, the background audio just doesn't want to fully kick through, and is what it is at this point in time. So let me just throw on a little bit of background audio that I uploaded in here, and we'll see if it actually ends up playing at this point in time. One of the items that happened last time was it just didn't want to fully play, whether the file size was too big or whatever the case. Maybe the same thing is going to happen right now, but we're going to give it a shot once again, folks. So again, I hope everyone, as always, is having a fantastic day, boys and girls. Yep, I hear the music going already. So at this point in time, Bitcoin's back up to $68,000, and it actually has dropped down, dropped back up, and dropped down and dropped back up again, but it is playing within a certain threshold at this point in time, which is always good to actually see what's going on and check everything out. And as a matter of fact, we're going to be pulling up some actual charts here as well. So let me get all of that situated for all of this to actually happen. Oh, boom, present, and lovely. All right, cool. Now we actually are cooking. So we got Bitcoin sitting at $67,375. Again, this is on the daily. It actually has already gone as high at one point in time as $69,420. 69,420. Who's got it with me? 69,420. It's exactly what just came through today. 69,420. Hilarious, because you can't even write that stuff out in a script. It actually just worked out perfectly on that one. One thing I am noticing is Bitcoin is doing a little, we'll call it a little wedge at this point in time. Looking at it from here to here, and you can see just on this overall chart, we are starting to form a little wedge. You can actually see has been forming since really since the end of February at this point in time, and it may end up wanting to continue at this point. It's just a matter of time to really see if it actually wants to. We can actually extend the line to the left on this one, so we can actually see. Does Bitcoin want to continue to play in this range at this point in time? It is definitely looking like it does want to continue playing in this little wedge at this point. Now, wedges are meant to be broken up or on this way down. And so it's just a matter of seeing what Bitcoin is going to actually end up doing on all of this. So you can see that's what I'm seeing right now on the chart of Bitcoin. Things are just kind of going a little bit sideways. It's actually fluctuating anywhere between $74,000 all the way back down to $60,000 and playing all within that $13,000 range. Imagine $13,000 used to be a big dream back in the day for several individuals. And heck, even if you had bought Bitcoin 8 years ago, folks, at this point in time, you would be up 600x at that point in time. So we're going to be diving into this and a little bit more today on this one, diving into the next 100x potential and actually see what's going on overall with all of these 100x's, because again, 8 years ago, back in 2018 or 2016, you can see if you just bought Bitcoin around the $400 mark, heck, even the $600 mark, you would still be up a beautiful, at this point in time, 100x on that one. So pretty crazy to see how it's always going to end up playing out. And that's kind of the mindset that I need everyone to actually have. Everyone's got to switch their mindset on this one to get out of the what's going to happen in the next week, what's going to happen in the next month, what's going to happen in the next 2 months, 6 months, next year, next 2 years. Folks, this is a long-term game for sure. And at this point in time, it is looking like Bitcoin has done quite a bit of move as well. But imagine the tokens that you're holding today. Give me 1 second. Imagine the tokens that you're holding today. Imagine any of them doing 100x. How happy would you be? I was actually diving in with another Patreon member as well on this the other day. And what was crazy about it is it actually came down to Hex on Ethereum. This is actually one of the fun little conversations that we were having. So we were saying that, hey, what if Hex on Ethereum is the one that the ratios stay at this, we'll say, I don't know, the 1-to-5 ratio that it's been at. So what does that mean? Well, it means that if we'll say at this point in time, let me just kind of pull up some exact numbers on this so it makes a little bit more sense for everyone. The current price of Hex on Pulse Chain is currently sitting at below a penny. Might as well just be right at a penny right now. Current price of Hex on Ethereum is currently sitting at 2018, which stays at this 1-to-5 to 1-to-5.5 ratio. So let's just assume, let's play with some numbers for a second, that one day Hex over on Pulse Chain reaches $1. And we maintain this 1-to-5 ratio that we're sitting at, and we have been sitting at really ever since March 11th, mid-March. Looking at some of these things and seeing how it could all play out on this one was a fun number. I was actually saying, hey, what would happen if it stayed at this 1-to-5 ratio? Hex on Pulse Chain reaches $1. That would mean Hex on Ethereum reaches 20 cents. Well, at the current price that it's sitting at right now, folks, that would be a beautiful 100x gain right away. Is anyone actually curious on this one? A beautiful 100x gain. Just going back up to 20 cents, not even getting that crazy with it, right? And some people might think that's crazy at this point in time based on how the previous performance is done. But with everything as we are right now, going back up to a 20-cent range would be a beautiful 100x gain at that point in time. For whatever money you have invested in this ecosystem or whatever that you're purchasing at this price right here would be a beautiful 100x ratio. But doesn't that also mean that Hex on Ethereum or Hex on Pulse Chain also did 100x? Yes, it would. Because that would actually end up putting it from 1 penny to $1 based on this ratio that we were just talking about. So you're not only looking at getting 100x from a Ethereum side, you're looking at getting 100x on Pulse Chain Hex side. And if we use that same metric and same logic that we've been considering on this one, what does that mean for all of the tokens in the RH ecosystem? Because ideally they're tied together through liquidity somehow, some way, some shape, some form, whether it be tied together directly through liquidity or indirectly through other tokens through liquidity. But what would that put the price of Ink token at? Well, that would take the Ink token from the $5 range that it's at right now to $500, boys and gals. $500 for the Ink token on this bull run, just buying right now. So you would get 100x from your Hex, you would get 100x from your Hex on Ethereum, 100x from your incentive token purchases or any earned through yield farming. You would have 100x potentially from your Pulse Chain side, and you would have 100x from your Pulse X side. Now, what does that put the price at if we're currently sitting at 4098? Well, that puts us right below a penny, folks. That puts us right below a penny on the Pulse Chain side. I know for some people they're saying that's not enough. I need more. I need it all. I want it all. But folks, 100x potential on every single one of those tokens is absolutely fire. Are you kidding me right now? How many of y'all could even say that you've seen 100x? And again, if you have, raise your hands. Put your hands in the chat. Put a little comment down below saying you've seen 100x. I got to ride my 100x. My first 100x was in Cardano. That was the very first time that I had seen 100x. Beyond that, folks, I'm not one of the fortunate individuals who have seen the thousands of X's that have happened multiple times in the past with crypto. There have been so many cryptos out there that do see thousands of X's. 1,000x. And I'm saying just do 1/10 of that, 100x. That is incredible opportunity available to you right now in front of you at the present time, folks. So be sure to secure your stash before the 100x gain comes. Again, if you got the price of Pulse Chain sitting at right at SAC price, basically 4 zeros or 3 zeros and a 1, right? Or 4 zeros 9897, which is the current price that it's sitting at right now. A beautiful 100x from here is putting it right below a penny. It'd be 2 zeros 9897 would be a 100x gain with any purchase made today. Now, could the price continue to dip down a smidge? Sure. Could the price continue to go up a smidge? Sure. But anywhere in this range, you're looking at anywhere between a nice little 50x to 250x, depending upon how crazy things really get. And again, they're all tied together through liquidity, folks. So again, if I'm seeing Hex on Pulse Chain at one point in time reaching $1, that would by just the ratios as which it stands right now, would put the price of Hex on Ethereum at 20 cents. Meaning you'd be looking at 100x here, you'd be looking at 100x on your Ethereum Hex, you'd be looking at 100x on your possible Ink token purchases, putting the Ink token price at $500, folks. Do you understand what that means? There are massive opportunities ahead on just 100x potential of what's available to you right now. And folks, I don't even get, sometimes people get some of these numbers a little bit crazy, but let's just say, for example, to break it down in a different way, in a different realm, in a different world, how much would it cost right now, or how much does it cost right now to go get yourself, we'll say 100 million pulse? Again, I got to count out some of these zeros. I wish they would just add commas. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. 100 million pulse right there is roughly around $9,800. Cool. So that 100 million pulse, do that $10,000. You multiply that sucker times 100x, and boys and gals, you just got yourself $1 million on that one token. And what if you were fortunate enough to not necessarily even hold 100 million pulse, but you held 200 million pulse? Well, you just got yourself $2 million. And let's go even crazier. You hold 500 million pulse right now, which at this point in time would be a ballpark of $50,000 at this point in time. That $50,000 after 100x would be $5 million. How much do you really need? Like, how much do you honestly need? And that's just this cycle. And folks, I think it goes far beyond 100x from here. But I said, let me be conservative. Instead of saying 1,000x, let me just do 10% of that, folks. 100x. How much do you really need right now on this cycle? And if this is a long-term token, are you really planning on selling all of it at the top? And I hope you wouldn't, but many people are going to try to play that game, and many people will get left behind, just like they thought they were smart with Bitcoin when they were selling Bitcoin when it reached the first $20 or $10 range. And then they thought they were smart selling it at $100, and then they thought they were smart selling it at $1,000. They were like, this is incredible. I bought here at below a penny, and boom, I sold it here. This move is absolutely insane. Don't get me wrong. But had they just held on, instead of them seeing a 2000x gain from that move, what if they could have held on to where they are right now? And what if they didn't sell their entire positions, but merely scraped what they needed to live and take profits in a way that allowed them to live stress-free, live debt-free, not be a wage cuck, not have to worry about working the entire time until you're dried up and can't even move around and enjoy retirement to go anywhere and spend time with your family, grandkids, great-grandkids, whatever you got, because you've been working the entire time, because you've had to work the entire time. What if you allow the kids and future generations in your family the ability to have a longer term vision instead of what happens in the next 3 months, 6 months, or a year, but instead focus on what's going to happen into the future, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Stake out a Hex 5555 if you haven't staked it out. It's a beautiful feeling, folks. It really is. Because who knows what the future is going to hold, man. And that's just saying that even if it just reached 20 cents this cycle, you're looking at a 100x gain. And what if it took you 4 years to get 100x? You're crazy for saying no to that. You're absolutely freaking wild for saying no to that. And I don't believe that'll take 4 years, but I'm just saying, if you stake your Hex and you're worried about staking it because you can't have a longer term vision than the next 6 months, 6 minutes, or 6 weeks, well, let's go out a little bit longer and stake it out 6 years. See what happens then. Take a little bit of the stress off your life. I don't know what needs to happen in the next 6 months, 6 weeks, or even 5 months, 4 months, 3 months. Heck, let's see what happens in the next year. But the next year is going to be absolutely wild, folks. I do see this potential to where it's just going to absolutely smash. I use this as reference all the time. You bought back in 2016 with Bitcoin of $400. Guys, look at this move. 8 years later. 8 years later, you turned that into 162x. Incredible. If you had just bought Ethereum when it first launched, again, it's tough to say some of these things sometimes, folks. But if you had just held Ethereum from 8 years ago, you'd be up 575x. That's just 8 years ago. Who knows how far this price goes with Ethereum into this bull cycle? Who knows how far this price goes with Bitcoin this bull cycle? We've used some of the metrics and numbers and discussed that we see the potential where Bitcoin reaches $240,000. Right? Like $240,000, folks. That's pretty freaking crazy. And imagine anyone who had been holding it for 8 years. It's not that long, y'all. It's really not. It's really not that long. Chaztown says round 2. Absolutely. Dentob, what's going on, my friend? Jason Smith, hello, my good sir. What's good? Got my bags packed. Absolutely. Got my bags packed too. Make it easy on yourself, right? Like, instead of you needing to hit a certain threshold, like we just discussed, you had 100 million pulse, which would cost roughly right now today $10,000 at the current price. What if you had the ability to, again, make it a little easier on yourself, so you didn't necessarily need to get the 100x to reach $1 million? So instead, you ended up getting 200 million pulse, and now you just need a 50x to get that $1 million. What if you made it even easier on yourself? You got yourself 500 million pulse, which granted right now today is $50,000, but you would only need a 20x to get to $1 million. So I look at some of these sometimes and I say, why would you not see the opportunity that's available in front of you? It really does blow my mind every single time. What's up, ass above, so below? It blows my mind, folks. It really does. These numbers are available and present to you at this point in time, and where we can actually end up going, what I can see happening, and what's available to every single one as well. Guys, 100x your money. Make sure to secure your stash before that 100x happens. You do not want to be that person chasing the FOMO candles because you didn't buy enough at this point in time when prices are at the levels that they are at. And they've been at some of these levels for the last 300 days for some folks, with some better opportunities within that 300 days metric as well. I just see these opportunities and I just am absolutely flabbergasted whenever I see someone crying about whatever's going on in the exact moment in time with prices. Because that's looking at the present day moment, and then if you're planning on selling today, then I can understand why you might be sad. But if you do have a long-term mindset, which I do believe everyone should adapt some form of a long-term mindset, you look at these prices and they're an absolute gift and blessing to every single person who is available and ready to purchase. Imagine being so scared that you stop making any action at this point in time. Happens all the time, folks. Fear is definitely one of the biggest factors, which is why it's in both the words going up and down for FOMO and for FUD. Fear of missing out, fear of the unknown, right? So all of these things are just to say, get your bags packed, folks. There's no guarantee it's going to happen in the next 3 days, 3 months, 6 months even. I hate to be the bearer of bad news for some individuals who think they're going to see 100x in 6 months. I'm not saying it's not possible with other tokens, but I'm saying the tokens that you are currently invested in, you got to have some faith that you're going to be able to see that vision at some point in time. And I can see that vision when I look at the price of Hex on both chains. I can see that vision when I look at the price of the Ink token. I can see that vision when I look at the price of the Pulse chain token. I can see that vision when I look at the price of Pulse X. The 100x is well within vision for me at this point in time. Maybe it's because I've seen 100x before, and so I know it's possible. And if you've never seen 100x before, get ready, because you can look at charts all day and go back and say, you had done this, it would have been crazy, you'd be up 500x. But were you around back then? Did you even know about it back then? If you were participating in it back then, why didn't you make the mad gains back then, right? Probably because of some other degen behavior, whether it's trading, whether it's taking on leverage, whether it's doing any of these items over here. What else we got going on in the crypto news, in the crypto world today, folks? I wanted to bring a quick stream on today. I really did. I just wanted to have some fun. Wanted to bring up some little news, some information. I was looking at some charts and having the discussion, and I was like, bro, 100x potential. 100x potential is absolutely freaking wild. And it's available to every person who actually takes that step off the ledge, takes the risk to dive just a little bit deeper in some cases. And I'm not saying go leverage up to the tits so that way you max out your credit cards and do everything to make sure that you capture the run. No, live within the means, because folks, you just heard it right here. Turning $10,000 and assuming that all of the tokens do 100x. Okay, you got Hex over on Pulse Chain, you got Hex over on Ethereum, you got Pulse X, you got Pulse, and you have the incentive token. Assuming all of them do 100x, and you have $10,000 invested evenly between them all. You put 10k or 2k into Pulse, 2k into Hex, 2k into Ethereum Hex, 2k into Pulse X, 2k into the Ink token. Then you let that run off and do 100x. And again, that's your $1 million right there. And again, folks, if you have the ability and luxury, go stack that cash right now. Go stack that cash. Let me actually read the chat real fast before I get too far into this as well. I'm curious to see what y'all are saying, because I'm seeing some chats come through. And I'm always appreciative of all the chats, guys. If you don't know already, one of the easiest ways to support the channel is just by liking the channel. Hit the little like button, smash it, folks, right? Give it a good little smash on this one at this point in time. It's always fun. It's always appreciative as well. Here you go. Get a little YouTube anthem here.
Hit the sub button, hit the like button.
Hit the like button.
If you're having fun,
Comment
type.
type.
If you're laying back,
Leaning in, engage.
take a second to smash the whole page.
All right, folks, it is a fantastic day to be here. Let me say hello to some more beautiful people who have been coming in as well. Oh, that's on loop. I'm just going to keep going in the background. Too funny. We're going to change up the little rave on this one so that way y'all can hear things a little bit different. Let me turn it down just a smidge as well. Boom. All right. 10 Top says, my conservative thinking estimates have always been smashed by astonishing moves in crypto. It's just a time frame that's hard to nail down. Facts. Facts. Every single time you have a conservative estimate in crypto, it's mostly because of some recency bias that just happened. And if you've been in crypto an amount of time, you understand what this recency bias feels like. And it's because you've seen a moment where you've had mad gains and then you see the price fall. And typically the price is down longer than it's up. And so you end up with this situation. You say, can it even recover back to those levels? Is it even possible? Does it even have a chance, right? And then you start lowering the expectations by forever. What ended up being millions of X's turn into thousands of X's, turn into hundreds of X's, turns into tens of X's, turns into looking just for a quick double. And for the individuals who end up getting out at that point in time, just once they see a double, I'm telling you, you look back at those, and I do not want to have any of the regrets saying, dude, I had a bag back in the day. How many times you heard that from people? I was going through Coinfessions the other day, and someone had pulled up, which, by the way, guys, on Fridays, we do TGI Friday Coinfessions as well. We're going to be diving into that and more come tomorrow on the stream. So if you like some of those things, then definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel as well. But I was reading one of the articles there, and it said, hey, I had bought $40 worth of Whiff, which is that dog with hat. That sucker has gone to do crazy, crazy gains over the last month or so. They said if they had held on to that $40, it would have been worth $1 million. And guess when they sold? When the price dropped by 20%. They sold $30. They sold at a loss. So not only did they not get to see their $1 million gain just because they had a very short-term vision, they actually took a loss. Now, granted, it was only $10 for them in the loss sense in that regard, but was the loss really $10 or was it 1 million? Which way do you want to be looking at some of this stuff when you have some of these items that you look back on? You want to say, dude, I had a bag back in the day. I had a bag, right? I've seen that happen so many times. Dude, I had so much Bitcoin back in the day. It's what you always hear. I had hundreds of Bitcoin, whether it's true or not, who knows, right? But you would always hear these stories. I had hundreds of Bitcoin and I traded them for shit. Or I had thousands of Ethereum and I traded them for garbage. It happens all the freaking time, y'all. Happens more often than it should. And I've always said to myself, I don't want to look back and say I had all of these tokens for my Pulse, for my Pulse X. I had hundreds of millions of these tokens. I had millions of Hex. I had so much incentive token, and guess what? I have nothing because I sold it on a double. Like, grats, you get a profit, but you sold it all. You don't even get to experience the next 50x gain from there on to make that 100x. It happens all the freaking time. And conservative estimates absolutely get smashed. Absolutely get smashed, y'all. More often than not, do they actually get smashed? Like, let's be real about that, right? More often than not, do they actually end up just getting absolutely fucking demolished on some of these estimates? Oh man, I used to love this song. I still love this song, I guess. It's all around the world. Anyways, having too much fun. When putting up limit orders to sell at the top of the bull, what would be a smart strategy? As above, so below. You should be ideally taking profits along the way. And so when you do see your first double, triple, quadruple, 10x, whatever level it is that you so desire and should so make a move, make a little profits taking strategy that says, when I see this, I do this. It's very simple. It's an easy way to execute. It puts a formula in place that's easy to follow. And at the end of the day, if you just follow a simple formula, you look back at the end of it with mad money in your pocket, in your bank account, and you're still holding a lot of crypto as well without making it an emotional decision. When you become emotional in your investments, and what I mean by emotional in your investments is you see something happen, some FUD, some fear of the unknown, right? You have some fears, uncertainty, and doubt. You're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's happening. The emotions start getting to you and you just do something stupid, right? Happens to the best of us. Same thing happens on FOMO. You got the fear of missing out. You just see all these things start pumping. You're like, oh my gosh. And you start buying. And then all of a sudden it takes a 50% dip. And you're like, damn, if only I could have waited every single time. And so put some formula, put some strategy in place. The idea of a limit order at the very top, easiest way to do it is, again, have certain levels if you want to go with limit orders. So that way, when you see a 10x, when you see a 20x, when you see a 50x, when you see a 100x, when you see a 1000x, whatever level it is, make limit orders that go all the way out. If you can have limit orders that go out for 12 months, it's pretty easy to do. As long as you keep your crypto inside that particular wallet, it'll execute automatically for you. So you can basically say, hey, I want to sell 5% of my portfolio at 20% or 20x, right? I want to recoup the money that I've got initially and just make it simple. And I'll wait till my 20x to do it. But at the 20x mark, I'm going to recoup my initial capital. I sell 5%. You do a limit order for there, boom, it's done. It executes. Super simple. What happens at the 50x? You do another 5%. What happens at 100x? You do another 5%. At the end of the day, you look back and you say, cool, I started out with 10,000. It turned into 1 million. During that time, I sold 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. So I still have 80% of my tokens, because you only sell 5% of the tokens, not the quantity of dollars. But you sell that a portion, and when you look back at it all, you say, I'm still holding 80% of my tokens. I've got this massive stack of cash, stables, whatever you want to have it in. And then you end up looking and say, cool, I'm going to pay myself now. And you put that money in the bank, folks. You say, cool, I took out, $200,000 in profit. I have a portfolio sitting at $1.2 million still with my tokens, because I still have majority of them. And then be ready to freaking ride the dip, man, because after that, the bear market's going to come in. The bear market's going to hit hard. You're going to lose 80 to 90% of the portfolio value. And if you didn't take profits along the way, then you're round tripping it. For some people, they can make it to the round trip. For other individuals, that's when they actually end up losing, or they sell the bottoms, or they do all sorts of other stuff. They regret not selling the tops. All those things happen, right? So don't do that. Don't put yourself in that situation. Smart strategy would be set up some form of 5 Ps to set up the strategy for taking profits as well. I do share this whole profit taking strategy plan with all the Patreon members as well. To anyone who is currently a part of the Patreon club as well, or part of the Patreon community, they've also seen this happen so many times over and over and over and over again. Again, I'll break it down so that way y'all can all see exactly a basic way of looking at it right here. But it starts out like this. You have a certain amount of tokens that you invested in the very beginning, whether it's $7,000. In this case, let's just do $10,000 invested at 0.0001, right? That's going to say the price of Pulse Chain as it is right now. You have roughly around 100 million Pulse Chain tokens at this price. And then along the way, you sell your certain level. So you say, cool, I want to start taking profit at my first 5x, right? So that 5x, you take 5%, you go with here, you switch this up to another 5% on the 10x, you do another 5% on a 20x, you do another 5% on a 40x, and another 5% on an 80x. By this point in time, you've actually been able to accrue $66,000 in profit while still retaining 77 million tokens at that price as well. So if you just do some fun math over here and say 77 million times the current price, which in this situation would be 0.008, well, you got $619,000 still in crypto. You've been able to take out $66,000 in profit, taking out 5% strategy along the way. And by the time it ends up doing 160x, for example, on this one, then you've pulled out roughly about $127,000 at this point, y'all. And guys, this isn't like a thing that, is not possible for every person here. Because then you would have 500, whoops, you would have 500. I didn't do the math right on that one at all. Okay, cool. This is also supposed to be H. I was like, that didn't sound right. So you do this, you have $1.1 million still in crypto because you still hold 73 million tokens at this point in time. You've taken out profit of $127,000. And yeah, you have some fun. Whoops, you didn't quite get to see because I had the comment on, but I think y'all kind of get the point of what I'm saying on this one, right? You just set up some sort of strategy that makes sense for you to allow you to make sense of it all, right? It could be a 5x, it could be a 2x, it could be a 3x, it could be a 10x. You just set it up at this point in time. You could do 5%, you could do 20%, you could do 10%. You got to figure that number out for yourself at this point in time. But doing nothing is by far like one of the worst. Doing nothing can be one of the best things to do and one of the worst things to do at the same time. If you are constantly looking at the charts, doing nothing is by far one of the worst things in order to do. Just a heads up, because it will absolutely wreck you when you see the price start going up and start going down, and then you're round tripping it again, and you didn't do anything during that time. So yeah, hopefully that helps answer some question on that one for you, as above, so below. I know I went into a little bit more detail on that one, but hopefully that does make some sense. Pulse price prediction, this cycle going off TA. Yeah, I mean, I've pulled it up as well. Looking at the TA chart on everything as well, you're still in the ballpark of beautiful. Here, let me actually go here, go back in here, and looking at some of these charts as well. Right. So here's just one of the charts here, and this is going to be the pulse chart here. And again, this is here, let me actually get this adjusted 1 second now. Uno momento. Whoops. Move that. So one of the easiest things to do, pull up a little fib retracement on this one as well, just from the all-time high to the all-time low. So again, pulling it up from the 0.3028 down to the low 0.4033. At this point in time, looking at the fib extensions, it's very common when things actually end up hitting a 1618 level. So looking right there, you're looking at pretty much 0.40446 at this point in time for Pulse Chain. This is very common on a bull market. I'm not going to say nothing's a guarantee because nothing's a guarantee, right? As you already know. But then as the bull market actually continues forward as well, you end up getting into the 2618, the 3618, and possibly even the 4618 on the final leg. It's actually the 4236. Go and turn that one off. So the 4236 is actually going to be kind of that final level at this point in time, really before it actually ends up typically pulling back. Now, again, this thing doesn't necessarily mean it has to be that way, because I can actually pull up other charts as well where this is absolutely blown out of the water for some of these charts. But looking at the actual chart from a TA perspective, from what we currently have available in front of us today over the last almost year's time, it would put the price of Pulse sitting at 2011 at this point right now, which again, even from today, beautiful little 100 or yeah, it's a nice little, well, I mean, in that situation, 11x gain is kind of what it's showing there. Again, this is why, like, TA on a chart that's brand new for crypto, kind of tough to do, not gonna lie. But looking at the Fib retracement on that one, that is definitely one of the things I would say, and that's using it on a non-log based scale. If you did actually flip it over to a log based scale, which this chart is based on a log based scale, these numbers get absolutely stupid with some of the numbers that you end up doing. Because again, the 1618, pretty common over here, right? The 2011, then you get into the 2618 level right below a penny. You get into the 3618 level, which is around 8 cents. This is very common to actually get touched and get hit. So at this point in time, you're looking at this point in time, I would say that's a pretty good target. The 3618 on a fib extension on this one, pretty common to actually get tested. So right around 8 cents is where my mind says. I've actually said anywhere between 3 cents to 8 cents at this point in time is where I can see the price of Pulse Chain going. And then if it wants to go as high as the 4.236 level, well, that would actually put us into the 32-cent range. Now, I pulled this up from a couple of different metrics. That's just not only the TA side of things, but also the market cap, since everyone wants to focus on a potential of what could the market cap end up doing. So you end up doing the same exact math, because essentially at this point in time, you say, cool, we're at 788 million right now. And even on a 100x gain at this point in time, 788 million times a nice little 100x gain would be $78 billion for where they are right now. And if you look at some of these tokens of where it's all at right now, that's really freaking small in all reality for where it would actually end up falling. It would be within the top 10 tokens, right? As of right now, for what's available to us today. So it'd still be within that range, which is, again, putting the price at around a penny, that for the Pulse Chain price. So that's where I'm actually getting it for Pulse Chain at this point in time. Doing the same exact thing over on Pulse X would be pretty similar, but might as well do the exact same thing over here for you. I've already got the fib extension pulled up from whenever I actually did the all-time high to the all-time low on this one. Oh, let me actually adjust that. Let me just pull one up real quick. All-time high to all-time low. All-time high. And again, I say all-time low. I do not go off the starting price as the low, by the way, because it's just one of those like quick little candles. The price actually did in fact come down at one point in time to 508,907. So looking at the fib extension on this one, the price of the Pulse X token 1618, almost that kind of guarantee hit like we had discussed, which would be roughly around 30769. Price of the 2618 right about a penny. Price about the 3618 right around 20 cents. And then the current price of the 4.236 is $1 for Pulse X. And that would absolutely shock everybody at that point in time. Am I right? Everyone would just lose their freaking mind if that was to happen. So what I do see happening is kind of based on a couple of those things, looking at the market cap, looking at all of it, and just trying to check it all out as well. And just checking, just trying to see how it's all going to end up playing out. Again, I guess I should have used this as the market cap. So we're already at one, instead of the 788 billion, so we're at 1.57 billion times 100x, which will put us right about 157 billion on here for the price of the Pulse Chain token. Again, putting it around a penny, and then multiply that sucker by 3, which will put us right around the 471 billion market cap for Pulse Chain, which I think is definitely still being feasible, especially considering the fact that when the bull market hits hard. You're gonna see that number go crazy. You're gonna see Ethereum go even crazy. You're gonna see Bitcoin end up getting into the $3 trillion range for the market cap, based on where everything stands at this point in time. So that's price of the Pulse Chain and price of Pulse X, I guess, price prediction there for you. So hopefully that gives you some stuff over there using some TA metric over there. Sightseeing, amazing. Doesn't take much. Don't get greedy, people. Yeah, absolutely. Sightseeing says opportunity presenting itself. That window does not stay open forever for everything in life. God bless. Yeah, usually opportunity knocks on your door and most people don't even hear it. They end up just, avoiding it. They miss it, whatever happens. But they say nothing ever good ever happens to me. And then like you see the little meme of opportunity knocking on their door and then they refuse to answer it or something like that. Right. Yep. Okay. Ladania Moore says, "Yo, people, what's up? Lord of the Ponzi, Pulse Nation. Hello, my friend. I just want ink to go back to $1. Everyone does, Jamal. Anyone who's actually long-term vision wants things to go lower for longer, so that way they can scoop up more for less. That's just long-term vision people. The short-term mindset people say, I want things to go back to $10 to $100, all that good stuff, because they just want to sell as soon as they possibly can. The 5 Ps, get more 5 Ps: patience, perseverance, principles, poise, and philosophy. Damn. I'll sell when P-Dye hits $2. Well, there you go, M. Rocky. What up, Tam Tam? Thanks, ATX, of course. Live ATX, what's up? While I make some dinner, send it, sir. Appreciate you, my friend. J Everything, what's up? Afternoon all is acclimated. What's up, guys? What's up, Anthony? When I think it's opportunity knocking, it's usually the cops, lol. How most people be feeling right there. So many people be feeling that way as well. But guys, it's been so much fun. I just want to pop on this stream, let everyone know, get your bags packed before the moon ship actually takes off. I want all of y'all to have a wonderful day, as much as you possibly can, folks, boys and gals, boys and girls. I will catch y'all in the next one.
I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. And I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up.